This is episode number 215 of the Homeowners Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Greg Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowners Show. We're so glad that you could join us for another live episode here in the studio. How you doing, Kev?
Oh, I'm just having a banging up good time.
Bang.
Going out with a bang.
We shot a lot of guns tonight.
We shot a lot of guns tonight. We shot a bunch of guns, and we did so in epic fashion.
Yeah, so big thank you to the Blackwood Gun Club, which is just down the road from the studio here, for letting us come out and shoot a lot.
We put a lot of ammo through the rounds tonight, and we did it with a purpose.
Yeah. Well, and also, so I mean, in conjunction with our thank you to Blackwood, we also want to say a big thank you to Adrian over at In-Home Floor, who provided some of the targets.
Yes,
let's just say
the targets. Well, so
we're being a little cryptic because we can't say a whole lot about what we were doing.
No, I mean, here's the deal. There were some references made to some products.
Yeah.
And on the show with Adrian.
Yeah.
And let's just say we tested whether or not the validity of those claims.
Yes.
And we've got some pretty good video that's going to come out, and you're going to find out.
Yeah.
If you haven't already. what the results were.
Yeah, so thank you to Adrian. Definitely thank you to Aaron and Jeff Bearden, and then to John, who's our range master over there for the evening.
Yes,
who took care of us and taught us many things.
Oh, dude, he was fun. I like him. He and I can be friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
That guy's a good guy to know.
Yeah. Well, and if you're local, one of the reasons I love Blackwood is it's the only range that I know of where you can pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
Because you have a pistol range, you have a long rifle range, and then you also have trap and skeet and clay shooting.
All right there.
There's other ranges in the area that have aspects of those, but they don't all have both.
Right.
Plus, they're just great people to go hang out. It's a fantastic facility. So if you haven't been, I encourage you to go. I'm a member over there.
Okay.
But yeah, how long? We were there for almost 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, well, we got there at 6:30, and I think we left closer to 9. I think we were there between 2 and 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
We
went through several rounds.
Yeah. What was your favorite gun that you shot tonight? I mean, it could be one of yours even, but
I mean, like my all-time favorite gun is one of mine, which is my Marlin 3030. Yeah. I love lever action rifles. They've always been my favorite. But I will say I really like the optics on his AR.
Oh, dude.
And it was fun to shoot.
Yeah.
It was really impressive to stand behind somebody else while they were shooting.
And it wasn't like the typical AR that you think of.
No, it was modified.
He completely custom built this thing to look like something off of a video game, basically. But he had
Call of Duty, I think is what he said.
Call of Duty. But he's got some pretty amazing this thing had a punch to it.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Because it had some pretty amazing shock absorption to it.
Right.
But that was definitely my favorite gun that I shot.
You like the AR the best?
Oh, dude. That one was
You like it better than the AK?
The AR was a lot more. I like the AK too.
Uh-huh.
But like you said, the optics, you literally see like a laser that you can point at whatever. It's super accurate.
Well, that's the thing is I've come across those in the past and they haven't been very accurate.
Yeah.
That one was accurate.
It was accurate, and it was it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
So
cool. We had a good time.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing quite a bit of content from this evening's activities. So hopefully you guys will be able to tune in and enjoy some of that.
Yeah, no doubt.
I also got to give a shout out to my buddy over at HEB because he hooked me up with hooked me on these new 1877 mineral waters.
Yeah,
and they have the flavored ones.
Oh.
Yeah,
Lime's my favorite. Or lime and grapefruit, actually.
They don't have grapefruit.
Okay.
Well, that I know of.
But the lime's really good.
Lime is very good. The one that I got, so he told me that his favorite was the lime, so I got the lime. They also have a mango flavored one, which is really good.
Okay.
I like that one better than this one.
Interesting.
This one, I mean, it kind of has like a margarita kind of a. It's not sweet.
Sure.
But like it has that lime.
Yeah.
So anyway, HEB. I mean, like this is their answer to Topo Chico.
Yeah.
And like
half the price.
Yeah. And like it's just as good if you ask me. So cool. I mean, I like Topo Chico, but
yeah,
this one's. I mean, it's just as bubbly.
I love it.
Yeah,
cool.
So we're gonna generator it up tonight. So you had some upgrades done to your house?
Yeah. So
it's always fun when we have content about the show that it's mostly self-survey.
Stuff we do. Yeah, it's stuff that we do. Well, here's the deal. We're not completely done. We'll get into that in a minute. But
okay.
I've always, since we moved to Houston, I've wanted to have a generator.
Okay.
Because we have hurricanes.
Right.
And even when we don't have hurricanes, we got weird ice storms that happen. I don't know. Like there's always something.
Sure.
And the potential for the power going out is high. Now, I will say this. We are now on a completely different grid. It's actually the same grid that you're on.
Okay.
And it's the power company is a co-op, and they do a really, really good job of taking care of their customers.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping.
Are you on their internet, by the way?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
been good?
It's been good.
Okay.
I mean, I really like Takis when we had them, but their internet's been great. It's been it's fiber, so it's been great. But it's one of those deals where I just don't like the idea of being without power for multiple days in a row. Mm-hmm. And part of it is just, I've got a family. If it's just me, I can handle it. But I'm just not interested in dealing with that with kids and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So I've wanted a generator, but I don't want to go pay for a Generac. I mean, that's ultimately the way to go, but like those can be anywhere from 10 to 20 grand depending on what size you need. I mean, your mom and dad have one. Mm-hmm. They're amazing. Like you get a flicker and then the power's back on. You can run absolutely everything in your house.
Pretty much.
It's amazing. But they're so expensive.
They're pricey.
And so
it's like buying a John Deere tractor, man. You pay a lot for that green paint.
Yep.
Yep.
But it also does the job.
Yeah.
So, you get what you pay for. But I'm cheap, and I was talking to my wife over the summer, and I think I mentioned this on one of the episodes. Like, they lost power to our well, and when we lost power to the well, it was just a tripped breaker at the time, but we didn't have water.
Right. Yeah.
And so I realized in that moment, I've never really been on a well before, so this is the first time I'm learning. And I realized, okay, if we are in most residential places and we lose power, we still have water.
Right.
Where we're at now, if we lose power, we lose water.
Yep.
And that is a whole different ballgame, And you can keep buckets of water around and flush the toilet that way. I get it, but it's just a whole different ballgame. So I was like, look, we're going to come up with a solution. We're going to install a generator.
Right.
And I've always wanted a natural gas generator because that fuel is readily available even during hurricanes. Sometimes the flow is not as good as you want it to be, but typically you've got natural gas available, and you're not having to keep, jugs and jugs of gasoline or propane around if you have a dual fuel. So I found one. Most of the time, whenever you get into like what's a tri-fuel generator, which is what we got is gasoline, propane, and natural gas, is the natural gas part of it is kind of dinky. Like you just don't get much power out of it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just the amount of, it's just the size of it, the motor and everything combined. So, interestingly, Duromax has come out with the largest tri-fuel on the market it's portable. And so, the thing on gas has a peak wattage of 13,000 watts, which is a lot. And all the way down to the natural gas, the peak wattage is 10,000, which is significantly higher than a lot of the other ones that are out of the market. So it's more expensive too. I'll just tell you, like, I don't mind putting the price out there because you can go look for it. I bought mine at Generator Factory Outlet. Online is free shipping. It's $2,500. So for a generator, that's pricey, but it's a 50 amp generator. Like it'll run my camper if I want it to. If I want to boondock with it, it's big enough to run my air conditioner, my oven, my dryer. Like it's big enough to run anything I need it to.
Like individually or simultaneously.
So I should be able to run. I should be able to run my air conditioner and all the lights in my house, and I don't really know. I'll have to do some testing, but I'm guessing that if I need to run my dryer, I'll probably turn the air conditioner off.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, some of these generators are not big enough to do that with.
Right.
And here's what the issue is: if you don't have it set up in your house to be able to plug it in on the outside of your house, then what you're doing is you're just running cords.
Right.
To your refrigerator.
Extension cords.
To your refrigerator, to your washer, to whatever it is that you need power, right? You're running extension cord outside because please don't put your generator inside
your house, yeah. It's a good hot tip there, Kev.
People do it, Craig. People do it. But like, it's just, it works for the essentials, right? But like a big deal that people are doing now is they're putting on these transfer switches onto the outside of their house where you literally plug your generator into a switch, like an outlet on the outside of your house, and you can run your entire house off of it.
Right.
But you got to be careful about how this is done. And so what I did, there are a couple of different ways you can go. And this is kind of what we want to get at tonight, is you can do a transfer switch with a separate breaker box to where you've got like anywhere from 5 to 10 breakers that are dedicated to your generator.
Right.
And those are what you get. And you have to dedicate them.
Yeah.
So you get whatever circuits, whatever lights, whatever, you know, if you want to put your air conditioner on it, you can, but that's it.
Right.
Well, if you open up my sub panel or my main panel, I've got a main panel and sub panel. You open up my main panel, dude, there are a ton of breakers in there. And not only that, they're all doubled up. Every single one of them is doubled. So
what does that mean?
So, okay. Inside your breaker box, you've got poles. So you put a breaker on a pole. So like a 15 or a 20 amp, you're going to put on a single pole. But on mine, it's got 2 separate breakers on that one pole. Okay. On every single one of them. So basically, you've got a what they call a tandem breaker on a single pole. Okay. So like, I've got a bunch of 15 and 20 amp breakers that all have 2 breakers on it.
Are they like connected?
They're
like they have like the switch is connected?
There's no connector to it. They're completely separate.
Okay.
And so you put on 2 different circuits on each one of them, but it only takes up 1 slot in your breaker box. But then you've got bigger breakers, like a 30 amp and a 50 amp, and you can even put a 100 amp, depending on, you know, whatever you've got. But typically a 50 and a 30 are typical. So a 30 is going to be like your oven, your dryer, and those sorts of things. My well is on a 30 amp breaker.
Okay.
Then your air conditioner is going to be a 50, right? But you need that on two separate poles because you need both circuits coming into two separate poles.
Okay.
That's just the way it's safer that way. So without getting into too much tech and stuff that I probably don't know what I'm talking about anyway.
Same.
Yeah. So, but you need those two separate poles. This is important. There's a reason I'm telling you this.
Okay.
So what I chose to do, rather than doing a completely separate breaker box with dedicated breakers, I've got so many breakers. I want to be able to turn on what I want to turn on and turn off what I don't want on. And I want that to vary based on the situation.
Sure.
So you put on, what I did is I put on what's called an interlock system.
Okay.
Okay, so the brand I used was GenInterlock. There are other brands out there. This is just the one that I used. And so basically what it does is it's just a metal plate that you install on the outside of your breaker panel.
Okay.
And you have to put your breaker, either a 30 or a 50, whatever size your generator is, in the top right two slots of your panel. And so the way it works is that breaker is off if your main power is on. Okay. So that's your generator plug. It's what runs that actual outlet. It is directly connected to that 50 amp breaker.
Okay.
For me, it's a 50. So the only way to turn that breaker on, because there's this metal plate that covers that breaker, the only way to turn that 50 amp breaker off is to slide that metal up so that you can turn that on.
I've seen these.
Move it out of the way. But the only way you can slide that metal piece up is to turn off your main power. Okay.
So you have to turn the main power off.
You have to turn the main power off. You can slide the metal piece into position and then turn your 50 amp breaker on. The opposite is also true. You cannot then turn your main power back on without turning that 50 amp breaker off.
Okay.
The purpose of that is so you're not double feeding.
Right. You're not creating a feedback loop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes it all safe. But what it does, what this little simple piece of metal does is it allows you to run your entire panel off that 50 amp breaker. Okay. So you've got your air conditioner, your oven, your dryer, these higher load things, plus all your lights and your switches and all the things that are electric in your house. You can turn them on as you want or turn them off as you want. And so, man, I'm telling you, like, this is it's a game changer in the way people that live in hurricane areas, which South Texas is one of them. There's, Florida is one of them. Louisiana is one of them. Mississippi, like all these places that get hurricanes, and lose power regularly. And I don't know. There's a lot of people up in the north that lose power because of, snowstorms and those types of things. Yeah. That, I would highly encourage you to look into the generator interlock system, and I'll link up what we used.
I wonder if up north where it gets so cold, like if generators are actually viable outside.
They are
like that.
They are.
I mean, like I know people have like Generacs and like diesel generators and things like that. I'm wondering if like the natural gas ones in the.
I know that because I've got friends up there that have generators for that reason. So I don't know if the natural gas option works as well. Right. Someone's gonna have to help me out on that one, but for gasoline or whatever, it's still a viable option.
I would imagine. I mean, as long as you can get it started, it should be fine.
Sure.
I mean,
oh, dude, that's the other thing about this thing. It's a remote start.
Ooh.
It's got remote start on it.
What do you mean by remote? Like it has a.
It's got a remote that I can start it with.
Okay.
It's also got push button start.
That's nice.
So you don't have to go out there and crank it with a traditional rip cord. And it's also got a low oil. It'll sense and tell you about it. It's got a carbon monoxide detector on it. So if you're dispensing too much of that, it'll beep at you and tell you. what's going on. The thing's really, really.
You would think it would do more than beep. I mean, like with a carbon monoxide sensor, it's like, why don't you just go ahead and shut off?
Yeah. Well, it may. I don't know.
Don't want to test it.
I don't want to test it. Honestly, I haven't read about that as much to find out, but it may just turn itself off. I'm not sure.
That beep will just slowly lullaby you into death. Yes.
But anyway, so, the ability to control whatever works on your house and what doesn't is kind of a nice deal with this interlock system. They're easy to install. In fact, a lot of electricians have the kits. They'll just come out and do it for a fee. I actually had a friend who's an electrician come over and help me with it, and I bought all the parts and paid him a couple $100, and
that's nice.
Yeah, and just it wound up saving me.
What would it have cost you if you didn't have a buddy like that?
So I did some looking. It's anywhere from $900 to $1,100 around here.
Okay, is
the kind of the going rate, and what that comes with is typically with the interlock kit, the external outlet that you have to install.
Right.
Most of the time, it comes with a cord for your generator, so it comes with the actual 30 or 50 amp cord that you need to plug your generator into that outlet.
How long of a cord is that?
Typically, I think they're anywhere from 10 to 25 feet.
Well, that's not bad.
No, depending on...
That's a good size.
Good, yeah. And
it's an expensive cable.
It is. And I think it depends on who does it.
Sure.
And I think it comes with the breaker and then just the labor to install it.
So, but you still got to buy the generator.
You still got to buy the generator, and but other than that, you're pretty well set.
Have you tried all three fuels?
I haven't even turned it on yet.
Okay.
Because I've been waiting to get all this done, and this was the other thing I was going to say. It just so happens that where the gas line is at my house and where the breaker is at my house are on opposite ends.
Ooh, that's not cool.
So I had to make a decision. I either had to run the electricity, put a 50 amp, copper line all the way over to where my gas was, or bring the gas line over to where the breaker panel is.
I'm actually curious as to what you did.
Well,
I would imagine the electrical would have been cheaper.
You would be surprised at what copper costs right now. Copper is very, very expensive, and depending on what size you need, can be anywhere from $8 to $15 a foot.
Jeez,
it's so expensive. So, honestly, it was a wash at what was going to be cheaper.
Oh, really?
It was within like $100-$150 to determine which way you want to go. And so, as I was doing the calculations, talking with the electrician, talking with the gas guy, which, by the way, I didn't know this for a long time. If you ever need gas, pipe work done,
plumber.
It's a plumber.
Yeah.
I didn't know who it was for a long time. So those of you out there going, hey, I want to hook up, my gas logs in my fireplace. Who do you call? Call a plumber.
Yep.
Don't call the gas company.
Nope.
In fact, if you call the gas company, they won't know who to tell you to talk to.
No, well, because they can't.
They don't know.
They can't. Well, they can't. Ethically, they can't refer plumbers.
Okay, well, there you go. Either way, that's who you got to talk to.
I mean, can you imagine if, the gas company decided to, refer a plumbing company?
Jeez.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
It would destroy everyone else's business.
It would. So. Yeah. So, anyway, ultimately, I decided to bring the gas over to where the breaker panel is. I think the electricity, moving that over the plug, might have been slightly less expensive.
Well, here would be my question: is does it move the generator further away from your bedroom?
Okay. This was all part of the equation, and ultimately, it puts the generator next to our bedrooms if we do that.
Okay.
But there's a couple of things. One is just the sheer distance that we're having to go with it. there could potentially be a little bit of voltage drop.
Oh, if you move
if I move the
electrical
plug,
line, yeah,
the electrical line, it's probably not much. Probably not that it's going to make all that much difference. However, if it's any, I don't want that.
Sure.
I mean, we're talking about, another bedroom set of lights or something. Like, I want to be able to turn on the maximum amount of stuff that I can, right? And so, like, if I'm going to experience any voltage drop at all, even if it's minuscule, I'm not real interested in that.
Yeah.
The other thing is the way they're going to install it, and the gas, that's the thing. The gas is they're purchasing the parts to come do it, so it's not actually installed yet, which is why I haven't turned the generator on yet.
I got you.
I'm waiting on that, but because of the way they're installing it, if I decide to move, which I never plan on doing, but if I did, I could take that with me. I could take the gas line with me.
I got you.
It's a flexible hose that'll go up and through the attic, and I can remove that and take it with me.
Okay.
So that was something, but yeah, it's gonna be super nice. I mean, I'm gonna have a quick connect over there, quick connect into the deal.
Jacks right in,
and plug the.
But you would get more power running it off of gasoline though, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way this one is set up, the like I said, the peak wattage of gasoline is 13,000. The running wattage is 10,500. So what that means is the difference is a peak would be like when your air conditioner comes on, it draws more power on its startup cycle.
Right.
It's like you've probably heard before, you'll use more gas starting your car than you will running it. Right. It's just because that initial surge, that's the peak watts. So, but the running watts is what it really needs most of the time. So it's 13,000 and 10.5 for gasoline. If you use propane, it's 12,000 peak watts and 9,500 running.
Okay.
And then, but propane's
even less, right?
It's very inefficient.
Right.
If you had a standard gas grill propane bottle, it would last like 2 hours, maybe, depending on what you're running. Like, it's not gonna. You're gonna have to have a lot of propane bottles.
Gotcha.
I'd rather haul gas around than propane.
Are you talking about like a 20-pound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
they 20 or 25 pounds?
They're 20.
Okay.
And then for my RV, I've got 230 pound ones, but propane's a pain.
Sure.
I mean, not everywhere carries it. They're heavy and they're combustible pretty bad. And so is gas too, but it's different. They're not going to go boom quite the same.
Right.
And in a storm, you're more likely to find someone who will get you gasoline than propane.
Yeah, I mean, like we kind of had a propane shortage around here for a while.
We did.
So, I mean, it was way easier to get gasoline than it was propane.
Right.
So
then when you jump down to natural gas, so you had 13,000, 12,000 on peak. Natural gas is 10,000 and 8,500 running.
Okay.
But that's not unusual because natural gas just doesn't have the oomph that the others do, but it's in supply.
Right.
And I can
lots of it.
Yeah, I can just plug in and I don't have to carry around
for days,
and I don't have to worry about in the middle of the night, I'm going to run out of gasoline. I'm going to have to go, fill it up, anything like that. Plus, it's cleaner. So, like your carburetor, all the things that run on your generator, it's just not going to clog up the same way as gasoline or.
So could you then? It's like you're running on natural gas,
right?
Let's freak accident. All of a sudden, natural gas is gone. I mean, like, say you had obviously you got a gas tank on this thing. I mean, is it a matter of just like flipping it over and it can just convert and continue to run, or do you stop it, change the fuel source?
My guess is you would need to stop it, change the fuel source, and start it up again.
Yeah,
but
Who knows?
Yeah, I haven't tried it. But that's going to be that's normally the way that kind of stuff would work.
I would imagine. I was just curious if they've come up with some sort of advancement or redundancy that's
I don't think so.
Hey, we just sense that you're out of natural gas. We're just going to go ahead and flip on over to the gas.
I don't think so. But honestly, it's probably safer that way anyway.
I would imagine, yeah.
But it's pretty simple to do that, to use gasoline over the other. And honestly, like I've always got propane around my house because I've got my camper there. I've also got a couple of spare 30 pounds. So I've actually got 4 30-pound tanks at my house, plus a couple of 20-pound tanks. So I've always got propane around, and I would use it if I needed to. But this thing has enough power that, I mean, 8,500 watts is enough to run quite a bit at your house. Yeah. And honestly, you're probably going to be conserving. You're going to be using more fan power than you are air conditioning power. Yeah. And hopefully, I mean, during Harvey it was hot. Yeah. But if it's a little, like if a hurricane came today here in Houston, it's cooler. Yeah. It's cooler right now than it has been. So, maybe you're running it a little less and all of that.
And we've got an episode coming up. I know we're going to be talking about that article I sent you earlier today about how like this guy's making the claim you don't really have to worry about turning your lights off anymore in order to save money. Right. So I've got to finish reading it. Right. But I think we're going to dive deep on that one in an upcoming episode because I think that's worth talking about.
It absolutely is. And look, so one of the things going back to my breaker panel, one of the things that was weird is it's so full that in order to put that 50 amp where it has to go in that top right slot, right? It's actually 2 slots. There was a 30 amp there, and I need to move it over to the other side, but I only have 2 poles to put it into, right? And I need to put 2 30 amp breakers in it. Well, that's called. You ready for this? A quad tandem 2-pole 30-30. Okay. So it's.
I'm more impressed that you even remember that.
I know. Thank you. I'm very impressive. So it's a quad tandem. So it means there's 4 actual switches in there. But it's a 2 30 amp breakers, but they have to be on 2 separate poles because a 30 and a 50 have to be on 2 separate poles to get both circuits coming in. And so the way they do it is they basically got 1 breaker crossing both poles in the middle and 1 on the outside. So it's got a 30 in the middle and a 30 on the outside. Okay. Does that make sense?
No, but carry on.
So basically you turn this one off and on, and you turn this one off and on.
Okay, I got you.
And so it's just the way they have to do it in order to get both poles in there, but also only take up 2 slots instead of taking up 4 slots. Well, the problem is with shortages right now, you can't find them. Oh, you can find a 30-20, and in fact, I did find a 30-20. And what I needed to run was my oven and my dryer because stupid me, I have last episode we talked about washer and dryer. Right. I have both electric and gas available for my dryer. I've always had an electric dryer. And when talking to people, they're like, look, if you always had electric, just use electric. I should have gone gas.
Yeah.
Because it was available, I could have done it. It's more expensive.
Really?
Yeah, it's like $200, $100 or $200 more to get the gas.
Yeah. So much cheaper to operate, though.
It's cheaper to operate, and honestly, I could have taken that freaking breaker out altogether. I wouldn't have needed it. Yeah. But I needed to put both of them right there. So with all the energy, so this is where I was going. With all the energy efficient appliances that we have these days, including like lights that are LED, and then your TV energy efficient. If you have an electric water heater, it's got energy efficiency. Refrigerator, even my washer and dryer have this energy efficient rating on it, right? Mm-hmm. So my electrician was like, "Okay, we're gonna try it. You got this 30-20 because that's all we could find. We're gonna try to put your dryer on it." Mm-hmm. Nope. It kept
tripping it.
Yep. Kept tripping the breaker. So we figured out a way to figure it out because I had the sub panel that had a slot in it. We figured it out, but yeah, I mean your electrical is something that you probably don't want to do.
No,
especially working in a breaker box.
Electrical scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, man, like it can really mess you up. Yeah. So, but the Interlock system really is. I mean, here's the deal. Let's say you turn on too much, it's just going to flip that breaker.
Right.
So you're safe with all of that, and you may have to walk outside in the rain if it's in a hurricane, and turn different things on, or maybe it's not raining anymore.
Yeah, get an umbrella.
It's not that big of a deal. It's really not. So that is one thing I'm gonna have to figure out is like housing my generator.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of cover to put it under. A lot of people will like build a little like shed and like do a vent to pour out the exhaust.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So I'll figure that out. But anyway, I'm really happy with the setup, and I think it's going to be really, really nice. And I won't have to leave if I lose electricity now.
Yeah,
And even right now, but like let's say something crazy happens today, we lose power. I can run it on gasoline until the natural gas is
yeah. And I mean, like I think most of those have pretty big tanks on them.
They do.
Yeah. So
I mean, I don't remember how big the tank is on the. But you can do a couple, like some people even have it to where like they have it siphoning from the.
I think most of them have like a 10-gallon tank on them.
They're pretty big, and it'll run for a while on it if I want it to. So anyway, I don't know. What questions do you have? Any?
No, man. I think you covered all of it.
Cool.
So anything else?
Right. I think that's it, man. For all of you out there listening, thank you for downloading today's episode, listening to us on the interwebs. Please go leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. We would appreciate that very much. Click the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Tell your friends about us because we are here each and every Tuesday. Until next time, we'll see you later.
See you.